July 28th special call board meeting. We're thrilled to see so many of you here tonight. We'd also like to extend our sincerest gratitude to our dedicated administration and staff for the tireless efforts this summer. Their hard work and commitment have been instrumental in preparing our schools for the upcoming academic year, ensuring a smooth and successful start of our students. Thank you for everything y'all do. Before proceeding to agenda item 2, we must address a housekeeping matter. TASB informed us at the summer SLI conference that the agenda review meetings must conclude on Tuesday of the week preceding the posted board meeting to ensure the agenda is posted 3 business days prior to the meeting. Dr. Salazar has graciously accommodated this requirement by meeting with me both in person and virtually, even when I was out of town this July. Thank you, Dr. Salazar, for your help in this matter. Okay, Dr. Salazar, pledge of allegiance, please, if you can all rise.
Will everyone please rise for the pledge?
You may be seated. Item 4, roll call. Mr. Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Donald Henderson?
Present.
Mr. Martin Castillo?
Present.
I am here. Jesus Amaya? Ms. Leticia Quintero is not here. Mr. Ruben Trevino?
Present.
Ms. Sandra Garcia?
Present.
Mr. Kevin Montes is not here. Dr. Salazar?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The agenda was posted as required by law, and we do have a quorum present. Item number 5, public comment. Dr. Salazar presented a sheet. No one signed up. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Item number 6, district presentations. Item 1, 2025-2026 Student Code of Conduct. Item 2, 2025-2026 Student Handbook. And item 3, 2025-2026 Employee Handbook.
Mr. Henderson, members of the board, as Mr. Henderson mentioned at the opening of this meeting, we have a team of staff members that has been working diligently to interpret and integrate all of the changes from the 89th session of the legislature into our handbooks. And this evening we have one of those items up for adoption by the board. That's the Student Code of Conduct. The other 2 items are not required to be adopted by the board, but we present them as information for information purposes and ahead of presenting them to our staff. So this evening we'd like to start with our Student Code of Conduct, and our Deputy Superintendent, Mrs. Ada Amaro Cibaja, will present we're only going to focus on the changes, which is about 1 page. Did I misspeak, Ms. Amaro?
Do you want me to do the student handbook, correct? I don't have the student code of conduct.
I'm sorry, you don't have the Student Code of Conduct? I'll take over. I'll do the Student Code of Conduct.
But I can do it.
I know you can. Not only can she do it, she's willing to. Always willing to fill in with any of my shortcomings. But Mr. McDonough spending a little time being grandpa today, so he's not with us, but he did summarize all of the changes in Student Code of Conduct. So we begin with edits that reflect specific guidance from the model Student Code of Conduct that's provided by TASB. The first bullet in the summary speaks to clarifications on mandatory responsibilities for the campus behavior coordinator. This includes initiating the threat assessment protocols when justified, and you can see more information on that on page 5. Clarification on new state rules prohibiting cell phone personal communication devices used during the instructional day and consequences for violations. At a recent workshop, we mentioned to you that we are not adopting a ban policy. We're adopting a policy where kids can have it in possession, just not out during the instructional day for reasons as illustrated. Yeah. So So anyway, there are also instances in which, for health and safety reasons, where students can pull their cell phone out. One example is a very good initiative that has yielded really good results, which is QR codes on posters in the hallways, where kids can report whether a friend is considering suicide or having suicidal thoughts. I saw something that you should know about administration, or there's bullying. We've seen great results with that. So also want to point out that in school property, we did not include in that definition, we did not include buses. When students are being transported they're on a field trip, or even being shuttled between one campus or another, that time is appropriate for them to, they could use their cell phones. We're not going to ask our bus drivers to enforce this rule, but we're going to take a rational approach to cell phones, and I'll stop there and see if there are any questions or comments. Without that, we'll continue with the next bullet. There's also a clarification on page 11 that clarifies that artificial intelligence, if used without permission, can constitute academic dishonesty in certain instances, such as plagiarism. Please know that we, a little ahead of the curve there, we had administrative guidelines on the use of AI already in place before this law came out, and our guidelines align very well with that policy. Possession of nicotine e-cigarette vape will no longer require a mandatory placement. You'll remember that during the 88th legislature, the legislature took action and said that any possession of paraphernalia, vaping paraphernalia, would result in whether it was nicotine or THC, that would be an automatic mandatory placement to DAP. And what resulted from that was an overcrowding of DAPs and not a change in behavior. So we're gonna, as a state, they're asking us to take a different approach. The removal of capped time limits for students placed in school suspension. If there's an ISS placement that exceeds 10 days, administrators will have to meet to review and document reasons for extended placement. Please know that all of these changes were covered. We gave a broad overview at Administrators Academy that just wrapped up last week, and we'll continue to do more in depth and as we proceed with our school year and during our Administrators Academy. But we sent kids for up to 45 days to DAP. And we've always had, we revisit the assignment or the placement at DAP at 10 days, at 20 days, et cetera, so that kids can come back and participate in the regular instructional program. Guidelines related to formal teacher requested student removals for disciplinary issues. On pages 15 and 16, you'll find information where teachers can remove a child for even a single incident, asked to remove a child for a single incident. There are procedures that need to be followed and teams that each administrator will put together to determine if the child is removed. And then there's also procedures for how a child is to be returned to a classroom. Yes, sir.
Dr. Salazar, just a question, clarification, and how has that classroom teachers in Houston?
Well, there's always been a process by which teachers can remove a student from the classroom when they're being disruptive, but it required documentation, like a pattern of behavior being established that warranted the removal from the classroom. The change here is giving teachers for a single incident. Now, it can't be like, he didn't bring his pencil. You're not gonna remove a child for that. But if the incident warrants it, a removal, we will remove the child from the classroom. Before, when a teacher asked for a child to be removed, the child would stay in the classroom until a committee met. The difference now is we remove the child first and then have the committee convene. As far as what the teachers have said, they're not back yet. We'll get the information out, and then I could more answer that question.
Thank you.
Ability for districts to consider out-of-school suspension for students under grade 3. Again, several sessions ago, we were told that we could no longer remove children out of the classroom in second grade and below. So now they're giving us the ability to remove a child if there is a quote-unquote significant disruption. So we will continue to, what we want is kids to be in the classroom. We work hard to modify behavior, adapt behavior, but there are times when removal of a child becomes necessary to redirect behavior, and so we have that ability again to do so. Ability of a parent to request consideration of out-of-school suspension to be converted into in-school suspension if there's a documented proof of issues with supervision at home. Administration makes the final decision, so we can work with a parent who says, look, I'm a single parent, leaving him or her at home is going to be more of a reward, or there's no redirection there. Would you please consider bringing him and placing him or her back into ISS? We have the discretion to work with parents even under a mandatory removal. Clarifications on mandatory expulsions for specific crimes like murder, kidnapping, burglary, regardless of whether the incident is on or off campus. I can tell you again that that's not one that they had to spell out for us. But now it's in law that any of those crimes gets a student removed from the campus even. The option to consider placement in a student in a virtual JJAEP expulsion program in certain instances. Now, this one left us scratching our head and going like, do we want to place a child in a virtual JJAEP? Again, the state is giving us an out. There could be an instance in which a JJAEP is at capacity and can't take a child even on a mandatory. Then what are you supposed to do if if a threat assessment committee determined that child should not be? Now, these are not. Throughout my tenure as a superintendent, I don't think we ever had that, but it could happen, and we're keeping that option open in case we ever need it. So, Mr. Maya.
Has there been any clarification now? Is it going to be up to the JJAP's design of whatever this should look like, or is it going to be the decision is made and the district is going to develop that virtual JJAP?
We're not that far yet, Coach. I don't know. I do know that JJAP was contracting with a third partner, the Cameron County JJAP, and now they're going to run it. So I don't know if they'll have more capacity, less capacity, or but I can keep you all informed as we get more clarity. Those are all of the changes that we have incorporated into our handbook. Of course, a special session going on, and we're going to keep our ear to the ground, and if there are any more changes, this is a living, working document, but we would bring you those summaries after the special session if necessary.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Dr. Salazar.
Okay, now I'm going to call on Mrs. Amaro, who has a pleasant disposition to cover any material, to cover student handbook. Mrs. Amaro.
Thank you, Dr. Salazar. So the changes that we have in our student handbook are also related to our 89 legislative session, and I'm only going to cover the most significant revisions. Some of the revisions that we made to our student handbook are just minor, cosmetic at many times. So I'm going to start with page 19. This is aligned to Senate Bill 12 requiring all teachers to provide a copy of the course syllabus. Our Office of Academics has provided a template to our teachers from K to 12, so that's available for our teachers at this time. On page 40, Senate Bill 12 requires that we post our grievance process in our website, so we'll be doing that. On page 51, this is Senate Bill, aligned to Senate Bill 569, regarding our district to inform parents of the opportunity to enroll in virtual or hybrid instruction. When I called TASB and I said, well, we don't provide virtual or hybrid instruction. They told us that we were just obligated to provide notification about the ability that the parents had to enroll their students. The only hybrid instruction or virtual that we could provide is through our CCTA program. So it was just a note that we needed to put place in our student handbook. On page 56, it's aligned to House Bill 1481, prohibiting the use of personal communication devices, pretty much out of sight. And we aligned what's in our student handbook with our student code of conduct and our discipline. On page 59, it's Senate Bill 12. This is a new requirement where parents must provide consent for our students to participate in any clubs. So any clubs that are at the campus, parents must provide written consent that they may participate. This excludes our athletics, our band. It's just clubs at a campus. We have a template ready to go, and we'll be providing that to our campus principals as well. On page 60, this was just an alignment. We just corrected extracurricular activities for UIL guidelines. Mr. McDonough, Coach Cantu looked over the UIL guidelines, and we're just aligning and revising. On page 64, just an updated grading guidelines, new links that were provided by the Office of Academics, and I believe they're going to come over for board adoption as well. On page 84, Senate Bill 12 is just providing information to parents on their rights, pretty much giving consent to any medical services or any activities that the campus may provide. They have options. And on page 89, House Bill 121 is requiring that our district provide information from the Texas School Safety Center in regards to safe storage of firearms, pretty much providing information to our parents on how to keep firearms safe. We're required to provide this notification 3 times during the year. So the handbook will be the first time. We're thinking right before our Christmas holidays, that would be our second, and right before spring break will be our 3rd notification provided to parents. And on page 93, we've heard a lot about Senate Bill 13, and we've aligned our student handbook with the collection of library books as we presented during our policy committee meeting on Senate Bill 13 and library books. Those are all the significant revisions to our handbook.
Thank you, Ms. Amaro. Mr. Castillo?
Yes, Ms. Civaja, what were we doing before this parental consent? What were we doing before? There was nothing?
Nothing. We're pretty much calling parents over for a meeting on the clubs. They would come over for a meeting and we provide notification, but nothing in writing.
Thank you.
Mr. Trevino?
Ms. Ibaja, so under addition to SB 569, it says requires the district to inform parents of the opportunity to enroll in virtual or hybrid instruction. Is the policy that we're going to put out just say that we don't offer that? Or what are we doing
Yeah, there's
there?
a policy coming in with policy FNCE. That's what they called it, named it. And it will state that we're just going to provide notification and they can earn course credit for graduation. That will be explained there.
Okay.
Yeah, but may I, sir? Yes. Mr. Trevino, I agree with you. I know we have discussed it several times, and it didn't occur to me here today that we should go beyond what the state requires us to have in the handbook and state that Los Fresnos CISD does not offer it except for at our Dropout Recovery Center, just so that there's clarity, because otherwise they're going to point to that. It's possible that a parent could point to that and try our handbook, and then we would have a hard time explaining.
One more
Yes, sir.
follow-up question. So in regards to SB 13, at our committee meeting, we discussed the ability or maybe lack thereof of having a system that would give the librarians the opportunity to say, okay, this student is not allowed to check out these books, kind of like a no-read list. Can you give us any information on that?
We're not there yet. We're meeting, or Ms. Holland is going to be meeting with librarians as soon as they're back in. We're gonna put a committee together, but we'll give you an update.
Did that software that we currently have that capacity to do?
Ms. Holland?
Excellent.
Good evening. So yes, our Destiny Follett software does have the capacity to if a parent submits a list of books they don't want their child to access, where it can flag it. And the nice thing with the policy, if I go to check out a book and I'm not supposed to read, say, Harry Potter, when I go to try to acquire that book, it's going to flag it in the system. Kathleen cannot check out Harry Potter, and there's no way to overwrite it. Now, one of the other safe measures that we're also putting into place is for anytime the librarian or the campus principal receives notification, we don't want Kathleen checking out these books. We're also asking for the librarians to notify the classroom teachers in the event that they might have those same books in the classroom libraries. So that's the system that we have set in place, and I'll be meeting with the librarians as soon as they get back on contract on Tuesday. Any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Holland. Ms. Garcia?
When we were talking about personal communication devices, I hadn't thought about smartwatches. They can have them on, they just can't be using them, or is that also out of sight? Like,
Correct. We're saying they can have them on. They can't be using them to communicate.
The questions? I think that concludes the report. Thank you, Dr. Salazar. Oh, thank you,
more-
Ms. Amaro. Okay, one more report?
Staff handbooks, and Ms. Anaya, our HR director, Ms. Anaya, will take us through the documented changes on that cover letter.
Good evening. Some of the changes that we have tonight for the employee handbook, some of the major ones. The first one is on page 10. It talks about ADA accommodations. We just added the topic to describe the process that an employee can request accommodations due to disability, as long as the individual can perform the essential functions of the job. The next one, on outside employment and tutoring, on page 11 of the employee handbook, added information related to restrictions on a school administrator's performance of outside employment. On page 12, it talks about the mental health training that is required for all the staff members who regularly interact with students. It is required to go through this mental health training. On page 21, under local procedures for implementing FML, they made a change, and it is highlighted. It says teachers have the option of not using paid leave during FML absence for pregnancy or birth or adoption of a child, and it's only for the teachers category. On page 26, the Crown Act implementation was removed from the standards of conduct, so it's no longer reflected on the employee handbook or dress code. Page 43 and 44, it delineates about reporting suspected child abuse and child maltreatment. It changes the word from CPS to Department of Family and Protective Services. It also emphasized that it used to be that you have 48 hours to report a suspect child abuse or maltreatment. Now it's down to 24 hours to do so. The employee has the option to report it straight to Department of Family and Protective Services or to a law enforcement agency. The police department in the district is not under this parameter of law enforcement agency. It has to be an outside the city police department.
Okay, so child abuse has now been codified in law, the definition of what constitutes child abuse, and we're all going to have to familiarize ourselves with what that is, and we're going to have to make sure all of our staff who have for years has been trained that we have 48 hours to report to CPS, to Family Protective Services. Now we have 24 hours, and then superintendent has 48 hours to report to TEA. So we need to stress to our principals also that as soon as there's an allegation, make us aware of it so that we can meet our deadlines for reporting.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Trevino?
Just in regards to the reporting, so is it the person who suspects there is maltreatment or lack of supervision, whatever, child abuse, neglect, they are the person responsible to report.
There's a change there too, according to Commissioner Marath. We were on a Zoom call on this past Thursday, and the question was posed, so has that changed? And he said, any administrator who knows has an obligation to report. But if someone already reported, you report anyway, because you could offer a detail that maybe somebody left out until the department tells you, we have that information already.
But if teacher, I'm sorry, Dr. Salazar.
Sure.
So if teacher or counselor or anybody suspects, they are supposed to report within 24 hours. And then the administration or administrator can also report. Is that what I'm hearing?
Should also report.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you.
And what he said is, this ensures that nothing falls through the cracks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And then clarification, it cannot go to LFCISD police, it must go to the outside agency.
Must go to municipal PD.
Thank you.
Okay, on page 44 and 45, delineates a report to Texas Education Agency by the superintendent, including any inappropriate conduct from not just a certified educator, but a non-certified employee. The superintendent has 7 days to report to TA of somebody that was terminated or resigned because he was involved in an investigation due to inappropriate conduct. On page 45, under technology resources, now artificial intelligence is also part of the employee handbook, and it says it should only be used as a support tool to improve student outcomes and not to replace the decisions made by teachers or students. Not to have the grading section of the artificial intelligence to come up with a grade for the students. On page 50, it talks about employee arrest and convictions. It says the superintendent is required to report this conduct, anything that is not through the fact clearinghouse, because when the district receives a notification through the fact clearinghouse, TA gets it at the same time. But anything else that maybe we find out because of a county arrest and is being posted and we get notified, we have to immediately notify TA. Because sometimes, depending on the county, it may take longer to continue and finish out the process with the DPS fact clearinghouse, which is the fingerprinting process. Under page 55 and 56, it talks about resignations and the obligation when there's a resignation due to conduct or because there was an investigation, and the superintendent responsibility to notify TA that the employee has resigned, regardless if it's a certified or non-certified employee. Page 56, it talks about dismissal or non-renewal of contract employees. It says the reporting requirements for termination of a contract employees are the same listed above for resignation of contract employees for both certified and non-certified. Page 57 is a discharge of convicted employees. I know the district has protocols when we start an investigation, but if an employee were to be convicted of an offense that is a Title V crime, which is a crime against an individual, is as per policy, is a termination of employment. There's also listed offense requiring a registration of as a sex offender, improper relationship between an educator and a student, sale, distribution, or display of harmful materials to a minor, public indecency, and a felony offense involving school property. And then last one but not least is policy CKEA, which is complaints against peace officer. And it says that the complaint must be in writing and signed by the person submitting this complaint, and a copy of this is to be shared with the officer, that there is this complaint about this police officer before we start the investigation.
Mr. Henderson, can I just reassure the candidates for employment with our school district that we're gonna be okay? This is still a very rewarding profession.
Any questions? Yes, sir. Ms. Anaya, if, on page 11, just, I see they added the two paragraphs. So can you just basically, just an example, just to explain, because, so you just need to document, correct? You
Do we
can,
consider kind of conflict of interest, like if you have an administrator that, let's say that is in charge of professional learning, and you're bringing the company where you work, and you're favoring that company versus other companies, so.
thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Trevino?
And Dr. Salazar, I just want to say, I apologize for cutting you off earlier. It's, the years have crept up on me and too many blows to my head during my football days. So if I don't get my thought out, then it's gone. So apologies to you, sir.
Any other Ms. Garcia?
Just to go change on the dress code, and it just looks very dated. Like the men have dress slacks, dressed Western slacks. What the heck? Can we just put like, can we put just like for the women, slacks instead of dress slacks and well, and also it's dress slacks. Do the guys really have to have dressy slacks all the time? Don't they all wear, what are you wearing, Dockers or something? I don't know, but don't guys wear, like, are those dress slacks? I wouldn't consider those dress slacks, and I don't know if they would be misconstrued as to, I understand no jeans, but
We can take another look at it.
yeah, and are we not allowing canvas shoes?
We're not
So like those Vans are not allowed?
Vans with checkerboards on them.
But what about like the plain ones that don't have the checkerboards on them?
Orlando?
Yes, those are allowed, and we did send clarification to the staff about what kind of canvas shoes are allowed.
Oh, yeah, we send it with no print, right?
Yes, sir,
That way we
no
know we
print.
get-
Uh-huh.
they make
Yeah.
clarification.
Just because I know the teachers are going to read this and are going to be, and I'm going to hear it. I already bought my canvas shoes. You said last year we could wear them. So just maybe move those up, like canvas shoes that are not checkered or, yeah. And I'm just going to say it. Most women have more than 2 piercings on their ears nowadays. So I just kind of feel like this is getting very dated. Like they're not wearing, I'm not talking about having, maybe you limit it to 3, but most have the loop. And then like I'm one of the few people I know that only has 1 hole in my ear. Most people have a stud and then something that hangs. I'm too cheap to buy 2 sets of earrings. But just something to consider. But yeah, I think this hasn't changed much since I was here.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Mr. Trevino?
Just to kind of piggyback on that, am I reading this right? Shall be prohibited denim jeans of any color. So we're not allowing them to wear jeans?
Only on Fridays.
The guys can't wear jeans only on Fridays? Has it? Well, I haven't been on campus in a long time, so.
I bet the teachers would be willing to give up their raise if they wear jeans every day. I know I would.
Okay.
Mr. Amaya?
Going back to the piercings on the ears, that's probably since you can't make anything gender specific, we do not. And I think it's an effort to probably keep the boys from having 15 different piercings. I mean, that would make sense since we don't make anything, we cannot make anything gender specific, which we don't.
Yes, Mr. Castillo?
Yeah, this dress code should have been passed a while back. Because I'm sure that a lot of teachers already bought their stuff, like Ms. Garcia said.
They bought it clearance in December. They're the best
We
planners.
didn't make changes.
Say again?
There was no changes on the dress code, the same as last year's. Yes. That we need to make changes.
want it like all, I mean, I want teachers to look professional. It's just, yeah, I just got a kick out of dress Western slacks.
There's probably been an incident that said, let's get specific in our handbook on what is allowed and what isn't allowed. And in our lively discussion today, I mentioned we have to have some standard. If whatever you're willing to tolerate becomes your standard, and like you said, we are professionals and we present ourselves as such. When you come to an ARD meeting, you know, parents see a professional. When an administrator has duty at a game, people should know who that administrator is. It shouldn't be a person wearing Crocs. It shouldn't be. We should have a standard, and all this is an attempt to maintain a certain standard in the profession, and that we try to model as well.
Ms. Anaya, thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I believe that concludes the reports. I want to thank Ms. Amaya and Ms. Anaya. Ms. Sabajas, thank you for your presentations today. Move to item number 7, action item, discuss and take action to approve superintendent's personnel recommendations for the following positions for the 2025-2026 school year: A, teachers; B, counselors; C, licensed specialist in school psychology; D, A and V, theater technician; E, CTE coordinator; and F, assistant principal. I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the board approve the superintendent's personnel recommendations for the following positions for the 2025-2026 school year: A, teachers; B, counselors; C, licensed specialist in school psychology, LSSP; D, A and V, theater technician; E, CTE coordinator; F, assistant principal.
You have a motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Garcia, second. Any discussion? No discussion. We'll take a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We're delighted to extend a warm welcome to our newest employees for the 2025-2026 school year. As recommended by superintendent, we are confident that your skills, your dedication, and passion will be invaluable to an asset to the Los Fresnos CISD, and we look forward to the positive impact you'll have on our students and school community. Welcome aboard. I'd like to ask Vice President Castillo to recognize our new employees.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We have a teacher going to Laureles Elementary, Miss Cristina Salinas. Can she please stand and be recognized? Another teacher going to Los Cuates Middle School, Mr. Jesus Sanchez. We have a counselor going to Resaca Middle School. We have Ana Rodriguez Salinas. Another counselor going to DSC Special Services, Ms. Mary Cruz Ramirez. So we have an administrator for the CTE Education Center, Yolanda Chamberlain. Last but not least, an administrator for Liberty Memorial, Carlos E. Garcia. Welcome. And just a friendly reminder, we have 11 days till school starts.
Mr. Castillo, thank you for doing that so well. And again, welcome. Again, feel free. You're welcome to excuse yourself and go home. We know it's Monday night. We just have 2 more items to go through if you don't mind waiting, but you're welcome to leave. Item 8 is closed session, nothing there. We do have item 9, open session, nothing. Item 10, action item, discuss and take action to approve the student's code of conduct for the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a motion? Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the board approve the student code of conduct for the 2025-2026 school year.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second, sir.
Mr. Castillo, second. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 11, announcements. Dr. Salazar.
Yes, Mr. Henderson, members of the board, on Friday, August the 8th, we have a Meet the Falcons at 8 p.m. at Leo Aguilar Stadium. That's always fun. On Monday, August 11th, it's the first day of school, and we have a regular school board meeting at 6 p.m. in this same location. Those are all the announcements we have at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Salazar. Adjourn this meeting at 6:41. Thank you.